All right, we're just going to give everybody just another couple minutes, and we'll go ahead and get started on the webinar today. Well, again, good morning, and thank you for attending. What we're going to talk about today is some different ways of selling, a different approach, if you will. We spend a lot of time at the service counter, and I think we get very complacent, and we forget that it's a different world out there. And I wanted to bring up some different ways of handling sales. We're going to talk about several different things. And primarily what we're going to try to talk about is relationship selling and consultative selling, a little different approach to what we've been doing. We've been doing it for a long time. You know, most of you have probably been selling for many years. And the idea that we have to do things a little different is kind of hard for us to accept sometimes. So as we go out and we visit shops and we listen to people and we hear the complaints that the service advisors are giving us, I fully understand that it's very frustrating out there. We're getting a lot of price shoppers. We're getting a lot of people that are looking to save as many dollars and cents as they can. And that creates a little harder job for us. So we're going to talk about how to increase sales and make 2009 a little better for you. Again, at the end of this, we'll go ahead and take questions, and I'll try to answer all the questions I can. I want to try to get the webinar done in an hour so everybody can go back and make some money today. If you have questions that don't get answered, by all means, give me a call or shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to follow up with you in the next couple days. Actually, it'll be next week. I'm in the field the next 2 days. So let's go ahead and get started now. How many of you feel this is the way your piggy bank's looking? He's a little lean. Obviously, this guy doesn't work for the government because he has no pork on him. You know, everybody is suffering. It doesn't matter if you're an automotive repair business or if you're a florist or the donut shop at the end. We're all suffering. And the problem that we have is we all realize that times are different. I won't necessarily say they're tougher than they have been in the past. They're different. And there's really two types of people in the world right now. There's the group of people that are sitting, looking at their piggy bank like this guy here, and going, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. They're sitting behind their desk. They're waiting for the customers to come to them. They're not changing the way they do business. They're not improving anything. They're just kind of saying, well, you know, it's been this way before. It'll pick back up. The problem is it's costing us a lot more to do business, and you don't have a lot of revenue to be waiting for. Then there's the second person, and I call this person the assertive person. He or she is up, out, going after customers. They're approaching people. They're doing the things that make them uncomfortable sometimes. We're going to talk about some of those things today. And uncomfortable in the sense that it's just not their norm. It's, you know, we've never had to do this before. And probably one of the biggest statements that creates a problem for us is we've never done that before. We've never had to do this before. You know, Malin, word of mouth is all I've ever had to do. Well, times have really changed, and we need to change the way we're looking at our business and the way we handle our business. So we got to get up, and we got to get re-energized. We got to get pumped up. We got to get excited about this, and we have to change the way we approach that service counter and the way we approach every customer. Otherwise, our piggy bank's going to continue to look like this, and in fact, may actually get a little bit worse. So let's talk about some of the sales basics. The very basic things. Now, this may be a review for some of you, and for some of you, you might go, oh, man, I stopped doing that. But it's important to go back to the things that work. Just like when we diagnose a car, we have to make sure the basics are there. It has to have fuel. It has to have compression. It has to have spark. You know, I remember back in my early days, we had a guy at the shop that worked on a car for about an hour and a half before he decided to check and see if he had any gas. And I think sales and business today is the same way. We've gotten away from the basics. We get all high-tech. We've got computers and emails and text messaging and all this stuff, and we've forgotten to go back to the basics. One of the very first things you need to do as a good salesperson is listen before you sell. I hear service advisors all the time at the front counter interrupting customers or jumping to conclusions, or more importantly, not listening hard enough to actually get the complaint that the customer has so we can get it to the technician so we can diagnose and repair the car properly. Yeah, sales involves talking. I understand that. Just coming from a guy who talks for a living. But the real bottom line is you have to give your customer full attention. If you're not listening, eye contact, body language, taking notes, the customer feels that you're not really caring about them. And this is the key to making sales today in this economy, is to make that customer feel like they're the most important person to you no matter what is going on around you. So I want you to learn how to listen again. Listening involves a lot of different things. It's eye contact first. I mentioned that. It's the body language. It's leaning forward with an open stance. It's even taking notes. Don't write paragraphs. Just take notes, 1, 2, 3 words to show the customer you're listening. And I know that as a service advisor, nothing frustrated me more than calling the parts store, giving them all the car information, and then having them ask again what size was the engine or what model was it. Well, your customer feels the same way. When you have to ask again what the complaint was or which car it is, they're going to feel that you didn't listen to them. And what we're doing at the service counter in the morning or on the telephone when they call is we're setting up the entire sales approach for the day. From the time they drop the car off to the upsell to you deliver the car, this is one process. The better you listen, the better that you understand their complaint and their needs, the easier it will be for you to sell to them. So if you don't listen to them, you're going to make a mistake someplace that's going to make them think, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing business with this person. So go back to listening very carefully. Remember that people buy people. And if you think about it, when you go someplace, your favorite restaurant or your favorite place to go, whatever your hobby might be, the fishing store, the bicycle store, the motorcycle shop, what are you really buying? You're buying the relationship of you and the people you work with. If they're pleasant to deal with, if they remember things about you, you're going to buy more things from them easier because you have that relationship. They're not buying auto repair anymore. They're buying peace of mind. They're buying a comfort level. They're buying you. This is one of the reasons why I like to have a very stable workforce at the front counter. If they come in and it seems like it's employee of the day, different people up there all the time, they start feeling a little uncomfortable. Now, owners, if you're not at the front counter every day and you have a service advisor, don't be afraid to show your face in the morning when they drop the cars off. In fact, it would be great if you were on the other side of the counter showing them you're still there, shaking their hand, thanking them for doing business with you. In fact, I'd like for you to be there in the morning when they drop the cars off and in the evening when they pick the cars up. Not writing service, not doing the service writer's job if you have one, but actually just being there to shake their hand and let them know that you're still involved in that business and you still care for them as a customer. Of course, we want the service writer to do the same thing. We want them to develop this relationship because people are buying people. You go to that favorite restaurant because of the waiter or waitress. You go to that favorite hobby store because of the person behind the counter. They understand you. They remember things about you. People are buying people right now. They're not buying car repair. Sell the benefits, not features. Now, if you've taken any sales classes, you may have heard about selling features and benefits. So a lot of people forget what a feature is versus a benefit. A feature is your warranty, for example. A feature is your convenience, where you're located, your hours. The features are the physical things that you do to make the customer experience easier. People don't really care about features. What they care about is what's in it for me. The benefit is, what does that warranty mean to the customer? What does those extended hours, the convenience factors, mean to the customer? We sell warranty all the time. You know, it's a big thing. Hey, you know, we've got this 2,000, 24,000 mile, 24-month warranty. It means nothing to the customer until they absolutely need it. And then how you handle that warranty is really the benefit. So if the customer goes out and has a problem and you say, well, we'll take a look at it next week, there wasn't much benefit to the customer. You talked about the feature, the warranty, but unless you take care of them with that warranty, you didn't sell the benefit. So instead of telling them you have a warranty, you need to tell them how hassle-free it is and how you stand behind your product. If you're going to sell convenience as a feature, we're open late. Tell them what the benefit to that is. They can drop their car off or pick it up later in the day or evening. If you're going to be open on the weekends, what's the benefit to the customer? We get away from selling the benefit to the customer, and we sell features. A feature would be we have certified technicians that have gone through, you know, hundreds of hours of training. Well, that all sounds good, but what's the benefit to the customer? Car repaired faster, car repaired correctly the first time. You need to sell the benefit of all of these features. I think this is one of the most misused sales tools we have. And what I'd like for you to do, if you really want to understand how to do this, sit down and on a piece of paper draw a line down the middle, and on one side write down the features. What do you do to help that customer along? So warranty would be one, maybe hours of operations, longevity, a certification, experience, pick up and deliver, shuttle ride, rental cars, towing, car washes, all those things. When you get done writing all the features down, I want you to go on the other side of the piece of paper, and I want you to build a set of benefits for each one of those features. Why the warranty? What's the benefit of our warranty? It's longer than everybody else's. It's no hassle. Call us up, bring it in. What's the benefit of the rental cars? Low cost, pick you up at work. Whatever it is, you need to build a set of benefits. And then you need to work it into your sales pitch so you're selling the benefits every time the customer calls you. It's very important that you always be selling the benefits. The features are important, but the customer's asking a very simple question. What's in it for me? Warranty means nothing to them until they need it, and then you better come through or it's not going to be a benefit to them. Create relationships. This is also, I think, a 21st century thing. You know, it used to be people came in because you could fix their car. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people trying to fix cars now. Not a whole lot of them can. But the bottom line is we want to create a relationship so that they, the consumer, the customer, comes to you and feels very, very comfortable in this relationship. And I think we have a better relationship with the car sometimes than we do with the consumer. And I want us to get back to really working hard on this relationship with the consumer. We're going to talk a little bit more how to do that a little further down the road. But it's a relationship. It's doing that little extra things. It's remembering things. It's being there for them. As one of my shop owners told me, he says, I want to be their people. We've heard that commercial, I got people. Well, I got people to do my taxes, and I got people to do this, and I got people to do that. I want you guys to be their people to answer all of their automotive questions. Whether you can replace the windshield or not, I want them calling you first. If they need upholstery, I want them to call you. If they need a stereo, I want them calling you. I want you to be the person in their mind that they go to for everything automotive. If they're going to buy a new car or thinking about buying a new car, I want them calling you, talking to you about which car to buy. Of course, I prefer them not to buy a new car. But if they're going to buy one, I'd prefer one that I like to work on as opposed to something I may not want to work on. So we want to build this relationship. I want you to develop the idea of we're going to be their people. Believe in your product. I know this sounds kind of funny, but especially nowadays, we get very down when we get very dejected about things. Believe in your product. You guys should be pounding your chest and talking very positive about what you sell and who does it for you, your staff. Believe in that product you're selling, because if you don't believe in it when you ask for the money, that comes across to the customer. So I want you to really, really believe in the product that you have. I want you to really be paying attention to the positive flow of energy out of you into that customer. If you're not up and happy and pumped up about being there, your customer picks up on it, and I guarantee you that it'll be a harder sell when you're not excited about what you're selling. And I know that sounds silly to get up and get excited every day about something you may have done for 40 years, but those are the people that are going to make the sales, especially the upsells, as opposed to the person who's down or not feeling positive or just, oh, man, it's just a tough day, you know, nobody's going to buy from me. This is about you believing in your product. You have to get up every day and say, I'm going to make sales today. I'm going to hit it out of the park. I'm going to sell everything that's asked of me today. I realize you're not going to, but you got to go to work anticipating selling everything that you have. And you got to believe in yourself. You know, one of the questions I ask people all the time in Service Writer School, are you a good salesman? And I get, well, yeah, sort of, and I could be better. That's not what I want to hear. What I want to hear is I'm the best. I'm the very best at this. Because you have to talk yourself into a positive relationship with yourself. I don't mean go stand in front of the shop and crawl up on the chair and yell at the top of the lungs and beat your chest, I'm the automotive god. But at the same time, you need to be talking to yourself in the mirror every time you come in, every time you get up to go to work. You need to be talking to yourself in the mirror, telling everybody, yourself, how great you are. You have to be pumped up when you go to work. Again, don't be egotistical about it, but you better believe in your product. One of the analogies I use is you never went to the home plate with a bat in your hand and said, I hope I hit it. You went up there thinking, I'm going to hit it. That's the way we have to be in sales. It's not about whether you do or don't. It's about the mindset of what you approach the sale with. Again, your customer will pick up on any hesitation, any doubt that you have about what you're selling. They pick up on it. Man, it's like blood in the water and sharks. They will come after you. So you got to believe in yourself. Sales negatives, fear. What is fear? Fear is false expectations appearing real. In most cases, the things you fear aren't really that bad. How many times have we put off making that phone call to that customer who's upset, and at the last minute, at the end of the day, we make the phone call, and it's not nearly as bad as it was. Would have been a whole lot better if you would have called them at 8 o'clock in the morning. But in most cases, most of our fears are unfounded. For example, nowadays I'm hearing, Malin, I'm afraid they're not going to buy anything. Malin, I'm afraid that they're going to think I'm trying to sell them the world. Malin, I just can't ask for all the things wrong with the car because I don't want to scare them away. They brought the car to you because they have a problem. They expect you to tell them what's wrong with it. Put that fear aside. The worst thing that happens is they say no. And I understand when you only have 1 or 2 cars, no's a big deal. But if you don't do it properly, you don't tell them what's wrong with their car, your reputation's going to take a hit. Stop being fearful of your customers. They're already afraid of you. You're going to ask them for money. You're fixing a car they don't know anything about. We can't have 2 fearful people in this transaction. So set your fear aside. This is absolutely something that if you're fearful of your customers telling you no, we need to talk about it because we need to get you over that fear. Too much information. A sales negative is when we get technical or we give them way too much information and we basically confuse them. Now, in a lot of cases, you know when that happens because you just kind of get this on the other end of the phone or they get that blank look on their face and they start going, uh-huh, 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 uh-huh. Okay. Don't overwhelm them. I believe in giving them the least amount of information to make a good decision. Let them ask you for more. So if you have an engineer, they definitely want more information. If you paid attention to the customer, they'll tell you they want more information when they do the write-up. You'll be able to tell the engineer. But the average, soccer mom, the business guy, the salesman, he really cares about getting his car back and how much it's going to be. So don't overwhelm them with technical information. Don't overwhelm them with too many choices in a lot of cases. Keep it as simple as possible. Too much information puts them into paralysis analysis. Poor presentation. Again, not being prepared. When you go and present your sale to them, whether it be on the phone when they make the appointment, when they write the car up in the morning, when they drop it off, your upsell or your delivery of the vehicle, make sure your presentation is professional. You should have your numbers done. You should have all your numbers. You shouldn't be adding things up while the customer's on the phone. You should be presenting a very professional presentation. Your estimate should be standalone, which means that the customer should not have to have 30 minutes of explanations to see what's going on. We want to make sure that you are confident, and the better presentation you develop, the better prepared you are, the better your confidence in yourself will be. So poor presentation can be a very big killer. I listened to a guy one day, and he was presenting it to the customer, and the customer was asking him questions, and very basic questions. It was, how much are those brake pads? What's the labor to do the brakes? Do I have to do the front and back brakes right now, or is one of them okay for a little while? Why do I need to do the cooling system? And the service writer could not answer those very basic questions because he didn't have a great presentation set up. You need to anticipate objections so your presentation is set. So if you think the customer is going to object about money, you should have your presentation set up to handle the money objection before you get to it. If it's a time objection, you should have that satisfied so that when you give your presentation, it's smooth. I don't want you being a used car salesman, but I want you to be smooth in your presentation. I want you to have the answers. I want you to be prepared. I think poor presentation probably costs us more money than almost anything else we do, maybe other than fear of the customer, so we stop asking for it. Never, especially in today's economy, prejudge a customer or their car. A lot of people are spending a lot of money on cars that we probably wouldn't put a tank of gas in, entirely because they don't have the funds to do anything else or they don't want to spend the funds. Yes, we had some customers buy some new cars here recently with the government subsidy, but there's a ton of people out there that are driving high mileage cars that'll spend $2,000 or $3,000 on it because they're looking at that's only about 4, 5, 6 car payments, and then it's done. My insurance stays low, my registration stays low. They just don't want to go in debt. So we're prejudging these customers. I've actually heard service advisors when the car pull in and go, oh man, that guy's not going to buy anything. You never know until you ask. So the bottom line is do your job. Check the car out, maintenance inspection, present the facts to the customer. Let them make a decision. You might be surprised at what you're going to get. And I want you to remember something. By you prejudging and sending them down the road, somebody else in your community is going to get that work because somebody's going to fix that car. And remember, we're not judging that car based on our needs. It's not our car. It's judged on their needs. So just because you wouldn't put any money into it, that's not a reason for them not to. So let's not prejudge the car or customer. You know, I know that in the little town I grew up in, the richest guy in town, he owned most of the land, the farmland around the town. He looked like the poorest guy in town. I don't think I ever saw him in anything other than a pair of dirty overalls driving a beat-up car. But he could probably buy every car on the dealership lot if he wanted to. So don't prejudge both their looks and the vehicle's look, but give everybody an opportunity to do business with you. Even those guys in the past that may not have been buyers, you know, the guy who comes in, you check the car out, they pay the inspection fee, they take the car, do it themselves, or don't do it at all. Play the game with them because the situation has changed. And they may be in a position where they need the car fixed. They've messed up the last time they tried to fix it themselves. So now they're looking for a professional to take care of that. So you know, play the game with everybody. It doesn't matter what their history is. It's kind of like we got to wipe the slate clean and start over again. So no prejudging. Attitude. Attitude as a sales negative is, I don't want to be here. I'm not up. I'm not pumped up. I don't like what I do anymore. You know, one of the things that I see with guys that have been doing this for 10, 15 years is it's hard to get up every day. Your attitude's going to dictate what kind of day you have. You're going to make sales based on a good attitude, or you can lose sales based on a poor attitude. So I need you guys to be pumped up, ready to go every single day, every single sell. I don't care what's going on around you. I don't care what's happened. Be pumped up and have a great attitude. Remember, these customers are coming into you. They got a problem. And they don't want to do business with somebody who has a problem. They don't care about who called in sick. They don't care about the car you dropped off the rack, the car that's still on fire in the back lot. They don't care about anything other than their car. So your attitude has to be one of servitude. I'm going to take care of you. We're going to make this happen. We're going to solve your problems. And right up to the point where they say, no, I don't want you to fix the car, your attitude should be one of 100%. We're going to take care of you. You're going to fix your car. We're going to be ready to go. Attitude's a huge issue with us service writers. Lack of control. This is a huge sales negative. Remember that you as a service advisor should be in control of the situation, which means in most cases you should be the one asking questions. When you're answering questions, the customer has control. Now here's the subtle part of this. I want you to be in control without appearing to be controlling. That's where you have to ask the right questions, do the right things, say the right words. It's like I talk about in Service Writer School, it's our Columbo approach. I want you to be Columbo. Get to that door and think back and go, oh, you know, I got one more question for you. You'd be surprised how well that technique works when you're just having a conversation. I kind of want you to think about this. I want you to be in control of a conversation, but I want you to think about we're sitting around our coffee table getting ready to watch the football game, you know, having an iced tea and some snacks, and you're just having a conversation with that customer, which will result in a sale if it's done properly. Most customers already feel out of control, so we use things to give them the feeling they're in control while we get them to make the decisions that we want them to make, which is to fix the car. We use permission closes. With your permission, I'll get started on that, to give them control of the conversation, give them control of the situation. But if you notice, that was a question. With your permission, I'll get started on that today. So I'm actually the person in control of that conversation still. So be in control. Don't be, like, again, that used car salesman ramming it down their throat. Have a conversation. Just be yourself and have a conversation with them. Control the way it goes. Ask the right questions. Get the right response from them. Ask the right questions, and you're actually going to be able to lead them down a path to making a good decision. I don't want you to use this just to make money off of them. You have to take care of the customer. You have to fix the car. You have to sell what's necessary. You have to make sure that the customer's taken care of, or they won't come back and they'll tell everybody else. Sales positives, being prepared. Again, I want you to have everything ready to go. Check sheets, information, printouts, everything you need, so when you get ready to call the customer and make that upsell, you are prepared. So if the customer says, why do I need whatever, you have the ability to answer that question. You do not have to know how to fix the car, but you need to give them a good response. When a customer says, why do I need to replace that fuel pump, and you go, because the technician told me, that's probably not going to float very well. But if you tell the customer, the reason, Mr. Smith, we need to replace this fuel pump is the specification on this fuel pump is 54 to 58 PSI, and your fuel pump is at 32. So we need to replace the fuel pump and the fuel filter to get that fuel pressure back where it belongs. Now he has some reasonable factual information. If you just say it's out of specs, he may buy that. But by building some numbers and showing him you've actually done the things that you said you're going to do, you build credibility and trust with him. So be prepared. Again, a well-written estimate, a well-written set of notes from your technician, check sheets, checkout forms, those kind of things make a huge difference on how well you come across to your customer. And again, you're the professional. They're looking to you to solve their problem. When you don't sound like you can solve their problem or you're lost, how are you going to guide them to make a good decision? So being prepared, that's a very big part of our job. Great attitude. Not just a good attitude. I want you pumped up and ready to go. You know, I get up every morning, and I'm very thankful that I get to do the job I do. There are days and it stinks. If you've ever been stuck in an airport for 6.5 hours because of weather, you understand. But for every day that's bad, or every part of every day that's bad, there's 1,000 things, in my opinion, that are good. So I want you to get up and have a great attitude. Be pumped up. You know, I was talking to a shop owner last Saturday at a class, and we were talking about this, the constant barrage of how much. And I told him, I said, well, that's just the way it is, and you got to have a good attitude about that. You got to look at that as a challenge, not a negative. They're giving you a chance to practice and use your techniques. You're not going to get everybody. But what happens is after 10 or 15 of those phone calls, this morning, for example, we have a bad attitude about it. We think everybody's going to call up and just badger us for price. We stop playing the game right, our attitude goes down, and it affects everything we do. So not just a good attitude. I want you to have a great attitude. I want you to get up every morning and say, man, this is great. I get to do what I love. And if you can't say that, you're probably not going to make the sales today that you should. Control, very positive, is when you're in control. You'll always want to make sure that, again, that you have control of the conversation, you have control of the situation. Most customers are looking for somebody to guide them. That's why you have to be in control. There are a few control freak customers who absolutely have to be in control, and you've got to learn to play the game a little different. Be in control of these customers. Ask the right questions. Play the game properly. In today's world, you have to have empathy. There are people out there that are struggling, just like some of us are. And I want you to think about this. You know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, 8 years ago, before 2001, the biggest problem we had was the competition. The guy down the street that did the same thing we did, the guy running the ads. You know, if a guy needed a brake job, our biggest worry was who's going to undercut our brake job price. Today, people are making decisions not about where they're going to get the car fixed, but where are we going to get the money to do this. So when you ask for a brake job, you might actually be making them choose between making their rent or mortgage payment or part of it, buying food, buying shoes for the kids to go back to school with, making the car payment, or fixing the car. So I think nowadays we need to be a little more, have a little more empathy for what's going on, which means you ask for what the car needs absolutely every time. But understand that we may be breaking this up into steps. We may be doing part of it this month and part of it next month. They might need to put it on 4 or 5 credit cards. You know, I've seen people come in and say, hey, put $200 on this, and here's $100 cash, and here's a check for $100. You're going to have to be empathetic about this. That doesn't mean stop selling. When a customer comes in and says, you know, I can't do that whole list today, or I just need to fix what's absolutely necessary today, are you asking them to schedule another appointment to get the next piece of it done in the next month? A lot of customers will budget and say, well, I can afford a couple $100 this month and a couple $100 next month. I want to schedule the appointment for that, and then I remind them we've done that. I want to be the helpful guy. Remember, I want them to think of me as their people. I'm helping them budget. I'm helping them plan. I'm helping them make good car repair decisions. They're going to remember that. Nobody, the vast majority of people, about 99.9% of them, never ever plan for car repair. There are so few people that walk in and say, hey, I've been putting money away every month because I knew I was going to have to fix my car eventually. So you're going to have to work with them. Have empathy, but don't give up on them. Help them make good decisions. Help them plan, but understand their situation. Don't get frustrated if they can't do it all today. It's about helping them make good decisions. They have to trust us. How do we build trust? It's real simple. Do what you said you're going to do. If you told them you're going to call them at 1 o'clock, call them before 1 o'clock. If you told them the car will be done by 5, have the car ready by 5. Do the things that we need to do to build trust. Communication is a huge trust issue. So one of the things that I've asked shops to do is now call the customer when things are going correctly. So we did an upsell. The car's promised at 5 o'clock. Call the customer at 3 o'clock and let them know everything's on track to deliver the car to them at the end of the day. Most cases, the only time we have contact with our customers is through what I call a negative contact. It's where we're asking for money or more time, or it's something that's detrimental to the customer. Let's give them some positives. Let's go out there and actually give them something that's, hey, we're doing our job, it's on time, we're delivered. Have the shuttle bus there or the shuttle ride there when they need. Do whatever you need to do to meet their expectations. That helps you build trust. And, of course, never lie to them. I would much rather get my butt chewed because I screwed up than to lie to a customer and have them find out about it, because trust plummets. So nobody should be lying. Even the little white lies will come back to haunt you. I want you guys being 100% truthful with them, helping them make good decisions. Understand your benefits. Why are you doing this? Okay, for an employee, we're getting paid. For the shop owner, we're paying the bills, we're getting paid. But in reality, you're helping people. You're doing something very few people can do. If you look at all the cars in America and how many professional automotive repair shops there are, there's not very many. So remember the benefit to you. You're making a living, you're supplying a living to your employees and all of your vendors. You're an important part of the economic drive of the United States. It's important. It's important for us to never forget how important our industry is to the consumer. What would happen if we all stopped working on cars? How long would it take this world to slow down and stop? Not very long at all. So keep in mind what's the benefits to you. You do a good job with the customer, it reaps the benefits back to you. Let's talk about relationship building. Never assume the customer remembers anything about what you did last time. Customers are very funny. As soon as they shove that receipt into the glove box, you're forgotten until the car breaks down or something else happens that makes them think of their car repair. So always be selling your benefits. Even though the guy was in just a month ago, remind him of the warranty, remind him of the shuttle, remind him of the car washes. Always sell and never assume the customer knows that. I am always astonished by the number of people that walk into a shop they've been going to for 15 or 20 years and say, do you guys do brakes? Do you guys do clutches? Do you guys do this? Well, yeah, in fact, we just did brakes in your car last year. Oh, they forget. So always go back and sell them. Sell them what you do, your hours, convenience, everything about you. Continually resell it because the customer will not remember. Always be yourself. Always treat everybody the same way. I tell people I'm a bit of a smart aleck. I know you guys, some of you will find that hard to believe. I'm that way at the service counter. I try to get people to laugh. I try to get them to chuckle a little bit. I want them to feel comfortable that if Malin's behind the service counter, he's the same person they meet at the fair or at the car show or in the airport. They're meeting the same guy. That makes them feel comfortable. If you're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or Sybil, 7 separate distinct personalities, they're not going to trust you. Always be yourself. Be friendly. When they walk through your door, I want you to get up out of that chair, stand up, go shake their hands, make them feel important. Nothing makes a customer feel better than when you stand up and walk up to that counter and greet them with a friendly smile, a handshake if that's what you want to do. But you need to get out there and make them feel comfortable about your relationship. And be friendly. Smile at them. Huge, huge, huge stress reliever is when they have a problem, they see somebody smiling and anxious to help them. Use their name as often as possible. In fact, not only use their name, but use their spouse's name if they're there. And again, I'm an old guy. My memory's not as good as it used to, so I try to write everything down. I put it in the computer system. If I get a chance, I make sure I review the ROs, previous ROs for cars that are coming in today, so I have an idea who's coming in. Or if I can get their license number when they pull in the lot, I'll actually pull it up. I'll go to the notes section, make sure I know their name, any other identifying remarks that I might want to make with them, but always use their name as often as possible. And recall these small bits of personal information. For example, if you know their kid's gone to college, ask how the child's doing. If you know the kids are involved in sports, ask about it. If you know the dog's name, ask about it. It's truly amazing whenever you start asking these questions, and people detox and stress out less when they feel like you have some kind of history with them. And you should be making notes in your computer system that don't print out on the repair order, obviously, but make little notes about, Susie's playing softball, George is in college in New York, Bob just got a promotion, anything. They'll tell you these things in casual conversations. Ask about the kids, ask about the dog. If you know what they do for a hobby, if they're into racing, ask how they did. If they're into fishing, ask how their fishing was. This is huge. This makes them feel compelled to do business with you as opposed to you just being another vendor. Think about the people you do business with. Isn't it nice when they remember who you are in little bits of information? You don't have to know everything. And for goodness sakes, if that car has got a name, call that car by its name. Whenever you tell them, hey, Christine's sick and I need to take care of her, let me tell you, they'll spend the money. But when you go, hey, your Chrysler over here is just, it's got some problems, that's not nearly as compelling to do business with you as when you talk about Christine being sick and we need to do a transplant. I'm telling you, it's huge. Keep that in mind. Always remember the car's name, always remember their name, and use them often. Help the customer find value. You fully understand what you're doing for the customer. They don't know a brake job from a clutch job in most cases, so help them find the value. Why are you using the parts you're doing? Why are you following the process that you're doing? Sell the benefits of what you do. That's value to the customer. Don't assume that he understands you're using top-of-the-line brake pads and you're resurfacing rotors or you're placing rotors, you're packing wheel bearings, you're rotating. You have to sell this to them every single time. The more you do for them, the better the value. If you do something for them and it's at no charge, make sure you put it on the RO. Make sure that there's a line item on there that says, we did this for you. And if you can do it, put a price next to it. Let's say car wash. We used to send all the cars to the car wash. We put down car wash, $8.95. And right underneath that, we put down customer satisfaction, negative $8.95. So they saw the value and they saw I gave it to them for free. They appreciate that. So if you can do that, now don't put it at the bottom on the totals under discounts because they think you charged them for it. So it really needs to be two line items, one a positive number, one a negative number. Some software won't allow that, but find a way of making sure the customer knows everything that you did with them so you can point it out. And by the way, I point out every single thing I do for free for them. And I try to do something that I can show no charge on every vehicle because that helps you build value. Focus on the customer. I want you to treat every customer as if they're the only person you have to deal with today. And we all know that's false. But I want that customer to feel like you're 100% attention to them. Don't be looking over their shoulder, looking at your watch, letting people interrupt you if at all possible. Deal with the customer. Make them feel the most important thing on your agenda today is them. This will make the customer feel important, which means they'll spend money with you much easier. Communicate, communicate, communicate. We talked a little bit about this. Always be selling everything that you do. Sell, 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 sell through communication. But also talk with them. Show them how to get the best life out of their tires. Sell them the value of rotations, tires, alignments, transmission services, oil services, preventive maintenance. You need to be always communicating with them, not just verbally. Your customer, your customer base, the one that comes in, that you have in your computer system should get something from you a minimum of once a quarter. In fact, I would like for you to actually touch them with both sales and non-sales point of contacts about every couple weeks, or I'm sorry, every couple months. They should be getting at least 6 points of contact from you. That's some of it's going to be sales, some of it's going to be non-sales, birthday cards, anniversary cards, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, holidays, all of those, so that your customer knows you're thinking about them. Communicate with them verbally in the shop, call them up, make the phone call after the car was in, make sure it's correct, make sure it's okay. These are all good things. This is all points of contact that will make the customer remember you. Educate. Our job is to educate. Never assume the customer understands what you're doing and why you're doing it. Take every opportunity to educate them. The more you educate them, the easier it will be to sell to them in the future. Remember the old commercial out there, parts is parts? Your customer has no clue that the $9 set of brake pads that they could buy at the parts store is different than the $90 pair of brake pads that you just sold them. So you better be educating them. They have no idea what a planetary is. But you better be educating them so they understand why you had to change it, or why it's necessary to service it, or why this leak is a bad thing. So always be in the education mode. In fact, I think your education first, sales second. The more educated they are, the better sales decisions they make. Don't overwhelm them. Don't give them too much, too fast, and confuse them. As I spoke earlier, a lot of customers, it's very easy to overwhelm them. Simple facts, let them ask questions. And when they ask questions, say something like, that's a great question, I'm glad you asked that. Show them the benefit of asking the questions. A lot of us find that the lady customers, the female customers, are better and easier to deal with because they ask questions. Men automatically assume that we know it. We're too egotistical. We don't ask the questions. It's hard not to overwhelm them sometimes. It's hard not to educate them. But that's part of what we need to do. So don't overwhelm them. Small, usable bits of information given to them so that they can grasp it and understand the concepts. What should we be selling? Solutions. A customer comes to you, the car won't start. They're not really interested in starting. They're interested in getting it work today and picking the kids up from school. So here's what I want you to do. Don't sell your service or products. Sell them a solution to their problem. How do we keep that car on the road? Preventive maintenance. Sell that. How do we prevent that starter from going out in 3 months? Put a good starter in the car. How do we head off problems? Maintenance inspections on a regular basis. Our job is to help them solve their problem. If their car's broken, what's their problem? Getting to work. Get them a rental car, take them to work, pick them up, whatever you need to do, solve their problem. Do not add to their problems by telling them call a tow truck, call the rental car company. You should be handling the logistics of that so they're not out there doing things they're not comfortable doing. Sell the problem or solve the problem. Sell them a solution to it. If you need a car, I'll get you a car to go to work. If you need a ride to work, I'll get you that. I'll pick you up. I've even taken people to the grocery store. I've taken them to the bank because that's what they needed to do. So sell solutions, not service or products. Sell your trust. Again, honest, open communication. Be up front with them. Take them out in the shop and show them what's wrong with the car. Show them the parts that you replaced. Take every chance you can to show them that you're doing exactly what you said you're going to do, and document, document, document. So when they walk out the door, they've got something that if their neighbor who used to be an auto mechanic who lives around the corner will look at that and go, wow, they did a lot of work. If you have 2 or 3 lines and a $1,000 bill, there's no value, which means trust drops. I never understood why they trust their ex-brother-in-law about the car repair more than they trust me, but they do. So I want to make sure that that piece of paper satisfies the trust building also. Convenience. Make it easy for them. Make it easy. If you need to go pick the car up in these tough times, go pick the car up if it's within reason. I'd rather pay for a tow than not get a customer in the door. Even if that car is drivable, but I don't have people I can send and pick it up, a tow truck is in reality, most cases, an inexpensive way of getting that car into the shop, and it also solves the problem for the customer of how do I get it to you. So sell convenience. Sometimes it's necessary for us to stay open a little bit longer. Now, I don't think we need to be open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But, if you typically close at 5, a lot of customers get off at 5. Maybe you should have somebody there to deliver cars till 6. Maybe you need to have somebody there a little bit early so they can drop cars off before they go to work. You got to figure out what your client base needs, but sell the convenience of what you're doing for them. Sell peace of mind. I want to be their people. I want them to feel I'm going to take care of them. If they call me up and say, I got a problem, I say, bring it down now. Let's get that car in here. Let's get what we can checked out. Then I'll call them and buy time if I need to, but I want you to sell peace of mind. We're going to take care of you. I think that's lacking a lot in today's world. They don't have peace of mind that we're going to take care of them and we can handle everything for them. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You have to show them that you're concerned with them. You have to make sure that you're giving them all they need to walk away going, I'm in good hands. I don't have to worry about this. I know when they call me, they're selling me things that are necessary. I know they're going to do the best job, and if I have a problem, they're going to stand behind me. So know how much you care. That's why it's important to sell the relationship. Pricing. Price is but one part of the sale, but it's the one thing that we focus on probably more than anything. Most service writers I've talked to in the last 6 months are just telling me, oh, Malin, they're beating me up on price. Well, yeah. They don't know anything else. That's all they know. They don't call you up and debate the internal workings of the transmission or the engine or whether the AMCO or the Acme starter is better than the Bosch starter. They don't know anything about that. But what do they see every day? It's in their face. It's price. And no one wants to spend more than they absolutely have to. So if I can buy a set of brake pads for $7 or I can pay $70 for them, why would I pay $63 more? Unless somebody would convince me that the $63 one is going to save, or $63 increase is going to save me time and money down the road. So don't dwell on price, dwell on value. Yes, there are some price-driven only customers out there. You have them now, and they're the customers you hate. They're the customers you dread coming in because it's a knife fight. They're badgering you for price, and you're trying to sell quality. Not everybody has a car is going to be our customer, and even now, today, it's okay not to fix everybody's car. But remember, they only know price, so you're going to have to do a better job of selling the value of what you do. They don't know what you know. They don't know the differences in quality or workmanship. They don't know why that shop down the street will do a brake job for $29 and why it costs them $229 at your store. You need to be the person out there selling, educating, showing them the difference. Now, I've had customers go get the cheap job done and come back and pay me twice as much money because that guy screwed it up. That's a great educational process. It's costly, though. It's costly for them. It's costly for you. So let's just work on trying to understand that they're asking price and they're beating you up from price because that's the only thing they have. They don't know anything else to ask for. They don't know what you know about car repair, and you have to sell them. This goes back to the educational mode. Price is in their face. You look at the Potpourri or the Penny Saver, the Wednesday ads. People are out there selling this stuff. Now in California, these guys that are selling this stuff so cheaply, the Bureau of Automotive Repair is going after them. There's several large chains that have been cited and fined because they're advertising these $69 brake jobs, and they went in and pulled 100 invoices for them, and there was not a single brake job that was done at $69. In California, you can't do that. So you have to educate. I actually tell people all the time, yeah, they advertise that $69 price, but the chances of you coming out of that with a $69 brake job is very slim. What I'd rather do is let me inspect the car, give you an exact estimate to fix it, and then you can make a decision based on that information. Don't assume that that price advertised is what you're going to pay because there's going to be changes to that as they inspect the vehicle. Don't get upset about price. Calm down, have a good positive attitude, and just work the price. Is it attitude-based or reason-based? Now, reason-based may be that they've had this job done on another car somewhere else, and they're comparing prices. It could be that they had this done on a car that they've traded in, and now they've got a newer used car, an OBD1 versus an OBD2 car, for example. It's going to be a difference in price. Again, it's education. Or is it attitude-based? Attitude is, well, my brother-in-law used to work on cars back in the 60s, and he said this starter should only be a couple $100. Well, yeah, in the 60s, they didn't have starters underneath intake manifolds like they do on some cars now. They don't have cars that you need to remove the drive axle, get the alternator out on. Again, it all goes back to why are they thinking this? And you need to figure out through questions, controlling the situation, whether it's attitude-based or reason-based. In a lot of cases, In a lot of cases, it is attitude-based, and it's simply a matter of educating. Yes, you're going to get some no's, and yes, you're going to lose some customers to price only, especially nowadays. But you need to play the game with each and every one of them. Let them decide what they're going to do, but play the game. And I know that affects your attitude when they say no. Don't let it. Just play the game, please. Sell the value. Sell what you're going to do. Sell the difference between you and everybody else. Sell your warranty that's different than everybody else. I really want you to sit down and do those benefits and features and figure out what you can say we do differently. One of the things you need to do is call other repair shops in the area and actually ask them, shop them. Ask them how much a brake job is. See what they're telling people. See what they're doing. Have somebody mystery shop your 3 biggest competitors and see what they're doing. And then work on a way of counteracting whatever they're telling customers over the phone. If they have a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty, then you should probably go to 1818. We have several shops out here that have 24 months unlimited mileage. So, you know, warranty, in most cases it's going to break early in the process. But you need to understand what everybody else is selling so you can do a better job of selling yourself. Offer options. One of the things that I like to do is give them the list and talk about scheduling it, planning ahead, helping them budget. Those are options. I realize that in this tough economic times, we're all watching our pennies. So what we can do is break this into several different appointments and allow you to budget for this. Offer other options. Now, I don't believe in offering them good, better, or best. I believe you fix the car right. That's the only way to do it. When you start offering them good, better, or best, they're going to take the cheapest stuff, and you're going to have comeback issues. So I offer a repair that's proper, but I'm willing to work with them as far as breaking it up. If you get financing where you can get 90 days same of cash, you have that to offer them. I don't want you carrying financing in-house in most cases. But offer them some options. How can we do this? What needs to be done right now? What can be put off? What can we schedule for the future? Just offer them some options so they feel good about it. Be compassionate. Again, remember, they're in competition with the house payment, the rent payment, food on the table, kids' shoes, gasoline to go to work. Be compassionate. By the same token, repair their car properly, inspect it every time it comes in, take good care of them as far as the auto needs. Be helpful. Again, don't give them problems. Give them solutions. If they need a rental car, get it for them. In the sense of make the arrangements, not pay for it necessarily. Same thing with the tow. Make the call. Get the tow truck out there. Help them, because remember, you call tow truck 3 or 4 times a day, hopefully. They're going to call it one time in their lifetime maybe. So be helpful. Help them make the good decisions. Be a gorilla. What do I mean by that? Well, it's kind of like this. Jay Levinson has a couple books out called Guerrilla Marketing, and he's making people think outside the box of normal marketing. Well, I want you to be a gorilla here too. I want you to think outside the box. How can I build value? How can I give services? What can I do to make this customer feel better? Be a gorilla means go to all kinds of different suppliers, different stores. Go to Neiman Marcus, go to Nordstrom's, go to Kmart. Go out there and do research on what people are getting from these vendors and how can I apply it to my business. How can I make it better for them? One of the guys, one of his guerrilla things is every day about 4 o'clock when people start coming to pick cars up, he bakes chocolate chip cookies. So when they walk through the door, they smell chocolate chip cookies, fresh baked. He hands them a hot chocolate chip cookie. How can that not make their day better? So here they are paying their bill, eating a hot chocolate chip cookie. It de-escalates them. It makes them feel a whole bunch better about the relationship. And if you had little containers of milk to go with that chocolate chip cookie, now you got a customer. So how can I do these things to make the customer feel more comfortable, more trust, more convenience to bring their car back to us? I tell you what, I take my car back to anybody who gave me a chocolate chip cookie at the end of the day. I got to tell you, that's my weakness. Be patient. They're not going to fix everything right away. They're going to have to budget for it. Be patient. Market to them. Anything that they don't fix, you should be marketing to them. That's different, those old point of contacts I talked about earlier. In fact, we could do a whole day on advertising and how to touch those customers. So think about it. How can I be patient but yet keep my name in front of them? So maintenance reminders, those kinds of things are very, very important. All right. Here's the thing that I've talked to my clients about. 2009 is the year of no excuses. You need to get up from behind your desk. You need to get outside. You need to go out and attract customers, not wait for them to come in. My little saying there, if it's to be, it's up to me, is a true fact. It's life. If you want to be successful, get up and go after it. Don't sit behind the desk and complain about it. Don't sit back there and tell me how the customer's attitude's bad, your attitude's bad. Get up and do something about it. The fact you're on this webinar tells me that you're interested in doing something about it. So what I'm asking you to do is get up and get out and go after this. I got to tell you, a lot of us are not going to be here if we don't get up and get out there and go after this. So it's really important that we go after these customers and we approach them with the idea that we're going to help them make good decisions, we're going to help them fix their car properly, and we're going to take good care of them. All right. Well, that's my spiel for the day. I have something coming up. We're going to take some questions here, and I'll show you a seminar we got coming up. I see Greg has his hand up here. Let me see if I can unmute him. Hi, Greg.
Hi.
What was your question?
Well, right up to right now, I've been muted. So I've been listening on the telephone. I was going to try to figure out how to get off this unmuted mode. But anyway, yeah, it's been an interesting hour and a lot of good points you brought up. And I think every now and then, every one of us needs to go to one of these little seminars, webinars to get boosted up a little bit.
Absolutely, and I think you know, the biggest problem we have right now, Greg, is we're getting beat up so much. It's hard to have that positive attitude.
Yes, it is, and I've been in this business for 45 years, and you know, and I've listened to these seminars, and I can tell you that it doesn't take long to get back in your shop where you get beat up for price and stuff like that, and you concentrate on that, and it makes you get down in the dumps. But once you get away from that and do some of these things that you're talking about, it'll improve your business a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that, you know, that's one of the things for all of you that are on this webinar today. If you have, you know, where you're going, look, Malin, my attitude's in the toilet and I don't know what to do, please send me an email and we'll schedule some time. You know, I'll take 10 or 15 minutes to talk to you about where you're at, what you're doing, what you need. You know, anything that I can do or ESI can do to help you guys out, we're just a phone call away. If you call me every single day, we're going to talk about dollars and cents. But if you have a question or a concern and you'd like to spend a minute or 2 or 15 talking, I'll be more than happy to do that. The best thing is, like I said, shoot me an email and we'll schedule some time to do that. So thanks for your comments, Greg. I appreciate that. Is there anybody else that might have a question? And if you do, there's a little icon up in the corner that has a hand on it. If you click that, it'll raise your hand. Randy. Oh, did you go? Okay, Greg, I'm going to mute you and move on to Randy. Hang on one second. Hi, Randy. Randy? Okay, well, I guess he's not there. I'll come back to him in a minute. Adam. Let me see here. Let me get you unmuted. There you go. Hi, Adam. How are you?
Hi, Marion. I'm doing really good, thank you. Enjoyed the webinar. Lots of great information. Unfortunately, I got interrupted about midway. Is there a way later on to replay this?
Yes, actually, I'll cross my fingers here. If I did everything correctly today, by this weekend, this will be on our website, which is www.esiseminars.com, and click on the webinar button, and you should be able to either watch it or download it and play it at your convenience.
Awesome. I enjoyed it again. Thank you very much.
All right, very good. Thank you, Adam. Anybody else have a question? Let me see if Randy's there. Randy, are you there? Okay, Andy actually, okay, so Randy asked this question. He wrote me, he says, how do you draw the line between educating the customer and not giving them too much information? Great question, Randy. And that's one where each customer is going to have to kind of be handled differently or uniquely, I guess is the right way, because some customers are just going to have a very basic question that you can answer and move on. Some of them are going to get technical. You know, the engineer, we're going to have to get technical on. They're going to want to know the color of the wire and all of that, whereas the simple, you know, salesman, housewife may just want some understanding of why we have to do what we need to do. So that's a great question. I guess the correct answer with that was you're going to have to pay attention as you start educating them and pay the the body language side of it so that you don't lose them with confuse them with too much information. It's a balancing act, and every customer is going to be a little different. I know that's not probably a definitive answer you were asking for, but that's pretty much how I do it. Is I read the body language of the customer, and I try to pay attention to whether they're need more information or less information. Basically, you're going to have to read the customer to see if you can do that. So, and Randy, if you have any questions or you want to talk about that a little further, just give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll talk a little bit. Jack Crawley asked, hi, Malin, you read a lot. Any reading suggestions for enhancing our selling skills? Well, there's several things out there. And Jack's right. I read and listen to a lot of things. One book that I would highly recommend would be a book called Selling the Invisible by Gary Beckworth. It's actually the only sales book I've ever found that actually talks about selling services as opposed to selling product. And he actually talks about marketing it too, but it's a great book. I listen to it about 3 times a year just to keep me focused on it. But that would be one book that I would highly recommend. The other one is there's Brian Tracy has some great books. I actually prefer him on audio tape. He's available on eBay. He has several different things about selling. He's actually a real estate salesperson, but he does talk about building value and that. And then, of course, the classic Zig Ziglar. Almost anything Zig Ziglar does is a pretty good read. He's kind of an old time salesman, but he has some pretty good information. So it wouldn't hurt to use that. And the books are the sales section of the big bookstores is just huge. So there's quite a number of books out there. But Selling the Invisible would be the first one I'd recommend. The author of the book was Harry Beckworth, Beckworth, I believe. And for those of you that don't like to read, he is available on iTunes. If you want to listen to it, I actually have the book and have him on iTunes. So hopefully that answers your question. Thanks, Jack. And Dave, if you didn't get that or you need anything, shoot me an email and I'll get you the exact title and ISBN number if you need. Paul Moore asked, how many mail-ins did you say we need to send out per month to keep in touch with customers? I missed some of that. Well, what I would recommend, Paul, is that you touch your customers with a sales piece once a quarter. This is your regular customer base. So maybe a newsletter or a letter or a postcard, something with an offer in it to drive them back into you. And then, if you can, every month, every 30 to 60 days, touch them with a non-sales point of contact. For example, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, holiday, the Christmas holidays, Hanukkah, to give them a reason to say, oh, look, they're thinking about me. Birthday cards are great, anniversary cards. So what you can do is simply pick up, through conversation with them, pick up anything that they mention. We'll get conversations like this. Well, how was your weekend? Oh, it was really good. It was my birthday. We went out to dinner. We went to the movies. Well, I'm making a note of that. I don't need to know the exact day, but if I'm close and I send a birthday card at the beginning of the month, they're going to think, wow, these guys are really on top of things. They're thinking about me. So that's one of the reasons why I want to have those non-sales points of contacts. All right. Any more questions? Okay. Let's see here. I think Mike asked me a question here. Yes, Mike, I have you on my to-do list to get a hold of you. So, yes, I will. Might be Monday. I have a couple things tying me up the rest of this week. So one of the things that I wanted to bring up also, as I said, we have another webinar that we're going to be talking about. And on this particular webinar, we're actually going to talk about profit structuring and the dollars and cents of your business. And some of the things we're going to cover is understand your profit and loss statement. We're going to go over profit and loss. We're going to actually help you determine what your shop rate should be. We're going to find out what you're really charging per hour. in a sense of, I think I'm charging $100 an hour, but what are you truly charging? We're going to talk about discover your true cost of doing business, what your actual cost is. We're also going to give everybody who attends an Excel spreadsheet that will do their shop rate and their what we call their true flat rate, the find out what you're really charging number, as part of the package. The webinar is going to be October 27th from 10 to 11 a.m. This is a charged seminar because of the Excel spreadsheet, as well as we will give you a phone consultation on the use of that and your P&L statement and determining your hourly rate. I will be sending out notices, registrations and such for that next week, so you might want to keep that in your calendar. It's well worth the $40 a person. We'll be able to pay by credit card through the registration page, so that's coming up if you have any interest in that. If you have any questions about that, by all means, give me a call. Most of my clients, we do this once a year in a classroom setting, so they kind of understand what we're doing. So that's available for you also. Now let's see if we had another question here. David says, another great relationship-based guerrilla thinking book, Swim with the Sharks Without Being Alive by Harvey Mackay. Thank you very much, Dave. Actually, there's a couple different books of Harvey's that I really like, and I forgot all about him, is Swim with the Sharks, absolutely, and also there's one, Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. Great book, and I highly recommend that you guys explore the Mackay 66, which is questions and such that he finds out about all of his customers and the vendors to help him build relationships with them. There's some great stories in there. Well worth the read, absolutely. So, all right, any more questions? All right, I appreciate your time. I'm sorry we went 5 minutes over. So, again, if there's anything that I can do to help you, my email address, Maylan, M-A-Y-L-A-N, @esiseminars.com, or give me a call on my number for those of you out of California, 866-526-3039. If you're in California, 805-526-3039. I appreciate your time today. I look forward to helping you in the future. Keep an eye out for our profit structuring class that's coming up. Give me a call if there's anything I can do. Go out, make some money today. Have a great day. Good positive attitude. Smile when that customer comes in, and you'll be okay. Have a great afternoon, guys. Thank you.